Everybody, Spencer here doing our first ever Geek of Spades book review. Now, I love books, as you may have gathered from the bookcases that are behind me in every single video. In fact, I love books so much, I wrote one. Yeah, that's right, I wrote a book, and I'm planning to write the sequel soon. And I figured books are considered pretty geeky, right? Totally a valid excuse for me to review them on the channel. Also, it's my channel and you can't stop me. So, I thought we'd start with a bang with my most recent favorite book series, Upple Ammo. It's the Powder Mage Trilogy by Brian McClellan. So yes, this is the first trilogy in the Powder Mage world, starting with Promise of Blood, followed up by Crimson Campaign, and wrapping up with Autumn Republic. I say that these are probably one of my favorite book series of recent history. I'm not exaggerating. These books are fantastic. I mean, they're just that good. Before reading these, I had been in a bit of a rut. I hadn't read anything really new that really excited me in a long time. And I kept seeing this on bookshelves at Barnes & Noble, and people online kept talking about how good it was. And so finally, my wife checked it out from the library for me, and I fell in love. And I plowed through this sucker in like 3 days. The next two were quick to follow, and I think I read all three of these in probably about 2 weeks' time. I mean, that's pretty fast for me. I don't read very quickly, so that tells you how much I really fell for these. And there's simple things about it that make this series so interesting, aside from just the fact that they're well written, which they are, but it's all the little things, the characters, the setting, it's all just so awesome, and it's all so good and well done, and I got addicted to it. Now, it's hard to do a book review without talking about the plot. So the basic plot is, you've got the Kingdom of Adrin, and the Field Marshal Tamas, I think I'm pronouncing that right, it's Tamas, so I could be wrong. He leads a rebellion, a revolution, and it's very sort of symbolic of the French Revolution, and it makes sense. The technology is very Napoleonic's War, and I love it. I love that era of history, so seeing fantasy in that era is really cool, because, you know, everybody can do the same boring, bog-standard ripping off Tolkien and D&D fantasy. These did something different and exciting, and I love it. Now, Tamas is one of the titular powder mages. He can control gunpowder through his mind, so he has magic over gunpowder, so he can make it explode at a distance with his thoughts. He can burn gunpowder that he's not actually using to make his bullets go further or fly more accurately. And he can sprinkle gunpowder on his tongue and gain superhuman senses and speed and strength, and it's really, really cool. Then, you know, his son gets involved, and there's a detective, and there's a lot of different stories that are kind of happening at the same time, but they're all equally interesting, and every single one I felt invested in. So it wasn't like, ugh, I gotta get through this guy's story so I can get to the good story again. Awesome. Now, I will admit, at first, Tamas comes across as kind of a one-dimensional character. He's very singular in his thought, you know. He's doing this one thing, and it's a little grating in the first book or so. And then as things kind of ramp up, he develops, and as his son gets more involved in the situation at hand, he develops, and he kind of opens up and becomes more three-dimensional. Because my biggest problem with him in the first book is that he's kind of one-dimensional, and you kind of spend the whole book going, Jesus Christ, you're such an a-hole. The only real complaint I could possibly have about these books is that the world feels developed, but we don't get a lot of background. And maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just a thing for me, being mostly a gamer, that I want my worlds kind of laid out to me and told, you know, here's how things are. You get mentions in these books of all these different countries, and we really know nothing about them. Other than the 2 other countries they go into, there's really not a lot of detail about the rest of the world around the characters. And it doesn't necessarily take away from the story, but at the same time, it just kind of bugs me, because I'm just like, okay, you have all these countries, I want to know more about them as well. You know, I'm interested in the characters, but, you know, give a little background. Now, of course, this could all be prelude to the fact that there's going to be a role-playing game in the world. Ah! And you bet your ass I backed it, and you bet your ass I'm going to review it here. Plus, it's being made in Savage Worlds, which is like one of my favorite RPG systems. And oh god. Oh, my heart can't handle so much awesome in one sentence. So there kind of is more, and there's going to be more explanation, and there's a little bit more explanation in the novellas, which you can buy on the Kindle store, or you can buy them as physical copies like I did, straight from Mr. McClellan's website. So you've got options. Of course, as is true with any good book series, the second I finished this book, I just kind of went, the hell do I do now? But nothing made me feel like there were loose ends, you know? Everything that needed to be wrapped up got wrapped up, and it got wrapped up really well, and everything was done really interestingly, and there was a lot of intrigue. I felt invested, and I love the way it ends. It ends on a really, really cool note, and while I am thirsty for more and I'm craving more Powder Mage, I'm okay with the fact that this series had to come to its end. And it ends well. It doesn't end on a cliffhanger. It's not one of those, maybe kind of things. Like, it's pretty definitive what happens at the end of the books. So, yeah, the Powder Mage Trilogy is a damn good read. If you're looking for something exciting, with interesting characters, a cool world, and is fantasy without being generic, stereotypical, cliche, and just beaten over the head with it a billion times by every other medium ever, give these a look. So folks, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this book review. I plan to do many more in the future if you guys enjoy it, including that bad boy back there. That is the first book of the Expanse series, as well as other books. If you guys want a review of Aeronaut's Windlass, I've read that. It was pretty good. I'll totally give you one if you'd like it. And yeah, I've been meaning to do this for a while, and I'm really glad that I'm starting to. So once again, thanks for watching. If you guys have any suggestions for books that you think I should read and do reviews on, leave them in the comments below, or you can shoot us a message on Twitter or on Facebook by following the links in the description. Alright, that's it for me, guys. I am going to go crack into another book, because it just never ends.